Welcome to the Collaborator. So I'm Ray. I'm going to show you how you can use forms in different ways other than using it for quizzes and surveys. Over the period of the COVID lockdown and having to work at home, I've come to realise and understand how we can use forms in a different way. So whether it be for using it for inspections, whether it be for using it for engagement tools or for being able to collect data from internal and external candidates into our organisations. I'm going to show you a few of these. Today I'm going to take a look at how an inspection can be utilised using the Forms software. So without further ado, let's jump on board. Just open up your internet browser. You can see here I've already got Forms open. For those of you who don't know where to find Forms, log into your Office 365 account, select on the waffle in the top left, open up More Apps as it's often hidden, and just select Forms. I've already got it open. So this area here is where all of your recent forms will be highlighted. You can also pin some, so your favourites to the top, so you don't have to go searching through. And then you've also got a shared with area. This is where individuals from across your organisation or outside have shared their form to collaborate with, which will give you access to some of the results, and it will give you access to be able to change the structure of the form itself. So what we are going to do is you can create a quiz from a question set, or what we're going to do is look at something a bit more bespoke and something that you don't see forms used for very often. So we're going to create a new. When you open it up, you'll be given this template box here, where you've got questions and then you've got responses. We're going to focus on building it, and then we're going to take a look at the responses afterwards. So what you can see in the right-hand corner here is a preview button, which shows you what the form looks like to the individuals, and it's also mobile friendly. So you can check that out just to make sure your design is working well. You've got a theme, so you can choose a colour. We're just going to select green for this one, or you can upload your own photo if you wish. That could be perhaps the company logo or a personality. And then over here, you've got the share button. Inside the share area, you've got only people within my organisation can respond, anyone can respond, or specific people can respond. So depending on what the form is going to be used for, depends on how wide you want to share it and who can respond. In terms of the template, you can share the template with others so that they can copy it and use it somewhere else in the business. And you've also got the share to collaborate. This is where you would have seen on that first page we got the shared with. This is where the form would populate for other people if you created it for, or created it so that there was a few of you that could then retain the results and review them and to share them across the business. And that is where you do that. There's also a number of individual settings across here, so how the form will look, printing the form, multi-diagonal, etc. are all set within there. In settings, you've got a few extra bits and bobs, but I'll cover all of this on a separate video. Okay, so what we're going to do is build our form, and we're going to build our form to utilize it as an inspection for this example. So first off, what we need to do is name our form. What's the standout name? So for this one, we're just going to call it Director's Inspection. And let me make sure I get that. Inspection. And then you're then prompted to add in a description. Now, if this is going to be a very detailed inspection form, then you're going to want to add in some guidance around how they should cover it. What areas that, the grayed out areas which will perhaps need a further information. This is where you can add it into here, or it can simply just be a very brief description of the form. All I'm going to add in here is a very short description. So please complete the form entirely and submit And that's all I'm going to add in here. This can be as long as you need it to be, really. And like I say, it depends on the type of form you're building. So like every good form, you can add a picture if you want to. So I'm just going to pop in one from a Bing search. You can load one from OneDrive or upload your own individual pictures, as I previously mentioned. So I'm just going to add this one in for now. And it will just put a little bit of character to your form, give it a little bit more of a professionalism. So what we're going to do now is start building the form. So for an inspector's form, what we're going to do is we're going to do the inspector's details first, and we are going to add in, so inspector's full name. I'm going to worry too much about these capital letters, but it will drive me mad if I don't do that. So when you add these in, what you get is these options. So this is a duplicate or copy question, delete the question, and when you've got more than one question, you'll be able to move the questions up and down. So if you feel like one of the questions probably sits below another one, you can easily move them by just using these arrows here. When you add in the question, I added a text. I didn't particularly explain that very well, so I will do in a second. You can add in a picture if you wish. And you've got these extra options around the text box, which is what this question is here, whether it be a long answer or a required answer. We're going to set this as a required answer because we need the name of the inspector. So when you click add new question or add new item, it will come up with these options. So you've got a choice, a text box, a rating, and a date. There are some further options when you select the drop down button at the end of date, where it says ranking, like it, file uploads, net promoter scores, and a section. I'm going to show you the section in a moment, but these are the different options. Point to note, file upload only works for internal communications or internal use, so other people with your company email address, for example. So there's our inspector name. We're going to need some of the details first, so I'm just going to quickly run through these. So full name, put these three in here. We're going to add in a choice, so business unit that you work for. So what business unit do you work for? And in here, we'll just add in a couple of different types of business units. So let's just say finance, procurement, learning and development. And I think my keyboard batteries are running low. Procurement, add one more in. Let's just say communications. Okay. Also, you've got the option to add in add other. So if you select on that, it will give you a box here where then it will allow them to put a bit of free text in. And that is how you add in some choices. Now, how that choice is seen is dependent on what you want. If you are requiring multi-answers, then this will not be a drop-down box. It will have to stay as a list as you see it. However, using the extra options, you've got the shuffle options, a drop-down box, drop-down, subtitle, and add branching. We're going to make sure that this is a drop-down box so that it takes up less space on the form. And as you can see, when I've done that and asked it to be required, it's now blanked out the multiple answers because you can't select more than one if it is in a drop-down. So that there is the details for our inspector. So let's just have a quick preview. Nice and tidy. There we go. And it also works quite nicely on mobile view. Okay, so let's go back. What we're going to do now is just add in some other questions around the person we're ordering. And what we're going to do is we're going to add in a new section. This creates a next button next to the bottom of this part of it, so it knows that you're entering a different section. this section we're going to call inspection team details, and again you can add in a description if you want. Okay, so that's just a very brief description of what you can add into here. And then we're going to add in again with names. On here, we're going to add in areas. Okay, so what area are you inspecting? And we're just going to put in a couple here. So let's just say kitchens, car park, let's add storeroom, and we will add in one other, say, office floor 1. And of course you can go in and add as many as you want to, and you can also add that as an option. Okay, so this is just generalized quick details around the inspector, so who's creating it, and then who is the person being inspected or the team being inspected. Now what we're going to do is just build some questions in so you can see the differences. So the first one we're going to do is a rating. So what was the area's cleanliness like? And you can add up to 10 stars for this type of question, or you can leave it at 5, which I'm going to leave it as 5. You can also have this as numbers or stars. We're going to leave this one as stars. So add in one more. How was the staff engagement? So were they being nice, were they open, being transparent? And again, we're going to leave this at 5 and give it a star right in there. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the other questions we can do. So we're going to do so this is where we can ask a number of questions based upon a set of options. So our first option, we shall say, excellent. Two, good. Fair. Needs work. And the last one, poor. And again, use your own business statements or your own business methodology for naming conventions in some of these. And we're going to do statement 1, so we're going to say floors. Trash cans. We will add tabletops. Ovens. Sinks. I'm just adding these in so you can see the type of questions you can do in here. We'll do one more and we'll say code wax. There we go. Okay, so that there is a star question. So we're getting a pretty good understanding of what this floor is getting, and you could do a lot more within this area. We're going to add in one final question, and that one is going to be a Net Promoter Score. So how likely are you to recommend this to a colleague? What we're going to change that to is how did you rate the overall site inspection? Okay, brilliant. Net Promoter Score will give you an indicator of where they sat. So you've got the not likely at all the way through to extremely likely, with the passive being between 7 and 3, I believe. And that's it. That's how you can create a very quick form and utilize it. Let me show you what it looks like in full view. So what I'll do is here, I'll complete this so you can see what a response will look like. So Ray, manager, I'm just going to pop in anything to this point here. And then I'm just going to say I'm with procurement, and then that section break that I mentioned sits like that, so it gives you this next option. When I click next, it will come up with the extra bits. So let's just say the person's name, Ben, again another email address. I inspected the storeroom and the area is relatively clean. The staff were very engaging, and then I've got the options here. So I'm going to say the floors were good, trash cans were good, tabletops, it was fair, ovens and sinks were excellent, and the coat closet needed some work. I would say this was an 8, but there is room for improvement. And of course, you can add in a text box for that on your form and then submit. You get this lovely little response here, which you can change and customize, and that's it done. So when we go back now, we'll see that response has been recorded. Let's take a look. So you can see the details here. This will always show the latest 3 or last 3 responses. So you can see the details here. This will produce dashboards for you, or you can export into Excel, which I'll show you in a second. But when you've got an awful lot of data at lots of areas, it's nice, and it's a nice way of being able to present this back to line management. And as you can see, the star rating overall for these, and then you can see what areas are doing well, what areas are kind of in the middle, and what's doing not so well. And you can see here on passive was 8, so passive is above 8. You can see this will move with the more responses you get. So in terms of providing a feedback form, check out another video which I'll produce in a feedback form, and you'll be able to see how this gives you good guidance on how it is you've been performing. You can review the results in a couple of different ways. So you can review it individually. There's only one in here at the moment, but you can just slide through each one, and you can also open it in Excel, download a copy of it, where then you can create your own dashboards as well. That is Microsoft Forms, using it outside of creating a survey or quiz. Again, I've used this a lot across my business so far. It's really positive. One more thing to note on sharing, you can create this as a QR code to add to a poster or add it onto a PowerPoint slide. You can provide it via link, so I can just copy the link and change this to anyone can respond. I'm going to copy that and post it in the link so you can take another look at the form if you wish. Feel free to fill it in, and we can review the results on another video. Thanks very much for watching. I hope that's been useful, and please subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss any other videos. Cheers.